Hello. In this video, I will be going over configuring validations and confidence thresholds. What are validation rules used for? Well, when a document fails a rule, the document can be flagged for later review by a human reviewer. This ensures data accuracy at both the document level and field level. To see an example of this, we have a bank statement and a field that has failed validation as marked by the red X. Clicking into this field, we can see a reason for the failure. For this application, I set up a rule that would always fail. I set the confidence threshold to 100%. The confidence threshold is how confident or certain the underlying model is in the result. Higher is better. In this case, I set the field confidence threshold to 100%, which it will always fail. For classification, this confidence threshold indicates how confident the model is that the document processed is the returned class. Now, let's take a look at how to implement this. Here we can see the application. To set up a validation field, simply select the field that you want to add validation for. Once we open the field that we would like to add a validation rule for, we simply go to the Validate section. Here, when we click Add Rule, we can see a couple options. One being the confidence rule, which is what was shown in the example for setting a field confidence threshold. Now, before we saw that 100% failed, so perhaps we lower it a little bit to set it to 95%. The other type of rule is a custom rule. We can either have a custom rule that is a prompt, which uses natural language, or a function, which is any custom Python function. One way to implement a validation function, even if you have no Python experience, is to select Validation Prompt. Input the validation rule you want to set. For this example, I want to make sure that the statement end date is in the proper format. Once I have my prompt, I click Run. Once it completes, I can select Show Generated Code, and it'll show me the Python code that it implemented. If I would like, I can change this prompt into a custom function by hovering over the code editor and selecting Convert to Custom Function. Now note that once you convert it to a function, it cannot be reverted into a prompt. Once converted, it displays as any other custom function in AI Hub. Here, you can adjust your code to what is needed. As well, remember that these validation functions can be shared across the organization by making use of the function library. Now that we've seen how to set up validations and confidence thresholds for an individual field, what about at the class level? To do this, we simply go to the Validations tab, toggle the Apply to All. Clicking Add Rule, we see a few options under Confidence Rules, Classification Confidence, and Field Confidence. Field Confidence is not quite the same as what we saw before. This field confidence will apply it to all fields. For example, if we want to ensure that the model is 95% confident in all fields it returns, we set that here. There's also the confidence rule for classification confidence. This is how confident the underlying model is that the document processed is the returned class. Here, same as before, we can set a percentage. And that is how you configure validations and confidence thresholds in AI Hub. You can now configure validations to flag results that require attention, helping ensure issues are reviewed before processing continues.